Chris Paul has had many beefs over the years, and let's just say they get toxic.
When Chris Paul was over here, he said that Rondo spit on him.
Now we got some Paul and Griffin words.
DeMarcus Cousins won't let Isaiah Thomas shake hands with the other team.
And what's juicier are the storylines leading up to those beefs.
Chris, he does slick shit. Like, you don't know, that's dirty motherfucker, man.
Rude and arrogant.
It's personal.
Yells at him, get the fuck out the way, and some other expletives.
Talking to a little kid.
I hate him, honestly.
He knows how to finesse the system, too.
People think he's a politician.
You always do that sneaky shit.
No, people don't trust politicians.
And we're going to use the backdrop of how his career ended to examine all these beefs. As we all know, Chris Paul called it a career this season, and I find it funny that a lot of people are showing him love because Chris Paul is not very loved by a lot of people. It's very fitting that this is how things ended for Chris Paul. You might think I'm crazy for saying that, but I'll be honest, in this video, you'll see why I say this. First, let's talk about what happened a couple months ago.
Was this so bad that it had to be handled this way?
The situation between LA and Chris Paul turned ugly fast. So much so that reports are saying there were long, tense meetings for months on end between Chris Paul and the organization. On November 28th, the Clippers tweeted that Chris Paul will end his Hall of Fame career at home. But the only problem with that, though, is that 4 days later, that ended up not being true. Whoopsie daisy, my bad. On the flight to Atlanta during a road trip is when he got the news at 3 a.m. that he was sent home.
Why would you do him like this? Why would you humiliate him?
Many found this to be the Clippers trying to find a scapegoat for their losing season, as they had a 16-16 record during this time.
Jeff Van Gundy told Chris Paul, listen, you might have had leeway in other places to be able to change up defensive coverages, but you don't have that leeway here.
In the game against the Mavs, Chris Paul noticed that Kawhi had difficulty guarding Klay on movement. Chris Paul, he asked him if he needed the scheme to be changed. This being the context for Chris Paul posting this definition of the word leeway on Instagram is quite funny, actually.
CP3 also tried to organize a Halloween party for the team after their win over the Pelicans October 31st, but only 3 players showed up.
Might be one of the funniest podcasts to talk about this.
Guys just don't fuck with CP. Or that they were busy, had other shit to do.
But there was some things said about Chris Paul that I think are worth listening to here.
We've heard things in the past that Chris Paul has been difficult to play with, basketball that is. It's been documented from people around in certain situations on the person and the player.
You could obviously tell there's one person in particular that doesn't like Chris Paul, and a lot of other guys that are willing to join in and bandwagon this take that he has.
Speaking from experience, being on the team with him, you know what I'm saying? So this is not nothing that I heard, and for this still to be a thing, not surprised. They not winning. You over there kicking T. Lou back in. I can do that shit. If I was sitting in that chair, if I was doing this, we would be. If I was.
You always do that sneaky shit.
Certain people look at Chris Paul as a politician. People don't trust politicians. That's my 2 cents.
And this isn't anything new from Kenny Martin. He said this in the past about Chris Paul.
People think he's a politician. People don't trust politicians.
He played with the Clippers when Chris Paul was there for a couple of years. And it's quite interesting seeing how he speaks about Chris Paul.
Yeah, he does things within the locker room that some teammates question. Dealing with management and coaches. People deem it as sneaky. But you don't know what's going on behind the closed door, so it leads to speculation.
And when talking about the beef that Harden and Chris Paul seem to have had, he went in and doubled down.
People side with James, I don't know. Whatever, but people have heard these things before about Chris Paul, not only from me, but other teammates. When there's smoke, I'm a firm believer there's fire.
It just shows from 2018 to now, he's one of Chris Paul's most ardent critics.
That shit's so calculated, bruh. Listen, one thing we know, Chris Paul is a smart individual. The shit was calculated.
He said enough shit to get his ass kicked off that team.
Yeah. Shit was calculated, dog. Hell of a basketball player. Tough to be teammates with.
But then the guys started arguing back and forth.
First time the Clippers have done this stuff.
No. Watch out. What we saying? Y'all gonna all of a sudden start winning some games? It ain't about winning.
Rajon McCants was pushing back on a lot of this, and he had a clear reason to.
We're not doing this. What y'all here doing? We don't want to hear it. Y'all don't want to hear it? No. Why? That's why we losing. That's why you never want. So this ain't Chris Paul with LeBron James. This ain't Chris Paul with LeBron James.
4-time champion.
Are we saying the same shit if LeBron saying this shit?
No, we don't keep it Chris Paul.
Right. This is about respect for a player who's 40-something years old, and you ain't doing it. It's how you rub people wrong over here. Telling the truth.
I don't know how it's possible, but Rajon McCants in the 1v4 somehow won the argument. I don't even know. This is crazy.
But me and you and speaking up. What was he?
And I'm sorry, I have to fast forward again.
But was he holding anybody specifically accountable? Did he call anybody out?
Not on that one.
No. Did James Harden say anything about, hey man, we need to do this better? No. Guess what Chris Paul not doing publicly, but he's probably doing internally.
Guess what? And that's who it's coming from, bro. Trust me.
You don't like the messenger. He told Kawhi Leonard. What's your feelings?
Now, at least Kenny Martin is honest enough to admit, like, yeah, bro, it's because they don't like Chris Paul. And that's the reason why they're siding with the Clippers and not Chris Paul in this case.
I went to the motherfucking Knicks. Guess what I did?
You wasn't Kenya no more?
Tyson, you got it.
Damn.
You let Tyson have it?
Milwaukee?
It's a motherfucking thing.
Damn, did y'all win?
Oh boy, this is quite revealing from Kenyon here.
I went right in.
Did y'all win?
Did you learn how to say hello and
Y'all
greet?
win? It don't matter.
You gotta play your role.
Hey, but Ken, why you do that though?
Because it ain't my
Everybody
place
got
no
a
more.
role.
Okay, because
It
we
ain't
have
my place no more for me to be
Everybody
that
Yeah,
guy.
but you're not Chris Paul, bro. Chris Paul is way more to give to the game, even when he's not as good as he used to
So
be.
of all the great players you've played with, and Chris Paul's certainly a great player,
Yes.
of all the great players you played with in 15 years, I mean, you played Nets and Nuggets and Clippers and Knicks and Bucks, so you probably played with, is it fair to say in your career you played with 10 great players? I mean, I'm talking high-end great players that will get Hall of Fame consideration. 8, 10?
That's stretch.
Oh,
That's a
6?
stretch. 6.
So of the 6,
7.
6 to 7
Why does it feel like this number just never escapes us, man?
Hall of Fame-worthy guys, Chris Paul was the least liked of those players.
From his teammates, I
Yes.
would probably say yes.
All right, well, I appreciate your honesty on that.
Yeah, he confirms it, man. Teammates just do not like Chris Paul, man. And I wouldn't have made this video if he was the only one.
They're trying to post up Chris Paul inside, and you can see Julius Hodge right there.
I'll just start by illustrating the elephant in the room here. Chris Paul having some dirty plays.
And this is it as it goes along, and you see the punch right there.
Now, thankfully, Julius Hodge does not hold it against Chris Paul. It's just a competitive moment, he says.
But I knew where it was coming from. I just didn't like that he did it to me. I know where it comes from. You do whatever it takes to win, but that's old stuff. I never held that against him. He's a competitor like myself.
In that same game, Chris Paul hit a game winner. So yeah, he's right. He did try to win this game, and he did end up winning the game. And over the years, you've seen it on the court, man. This guy doing cheap shots to the nuts. It's weird, but a lot of guys can excuse it and say it's competition.
As you have continued to age in this league, you're 19. You're still super competitive, but you channel it in a totally different way.
And I found this interview interesting where they delved back into Chris Paul's career here.
I used to always tell Bob would come ask me, like, what you think of this guy? And I would simply say, Bob, I like when he come on the court for the other team.
Right.
I don't want to play.
Yeah. And see, I tell you, JJ Redick was like that. So in college, me and JJ couldn't stand each other.
You can technically say this is beef, but this is the first real instance.
Here's the way they'll start.
One of the best scorers in college, JJ Redick for Duke, plays against Chris Paul, one of the better point guards for Wake Forest. And honestly, it was a blast of a matchup.
What a pass from Redick. Oh, pretty move.
There was something in the air that day, and there was a lot of tension.
Ewing.
Look at that hustle. Went all over the ball. A lot of hustle, scrapping, clawing.
Boy, nobody giving. I'll tell you, Paul and Ewing right in each other's face, and then Danilus and Melchione going after each other.
And what I'm interested in here is not just the beef, it's the mindset that Chris Paul has here.
We got in a fight, got into it, and I never forget, I was standing in my closet in LA when Doc Rivers hit me and told me we had a chance to get JJ Redick. And when I say I ain't like JJ, I could not stand JJ. And as soon as Doc said it, I said, let's get him. Because I know guys that are competitors, we got a lot of life.
It's game recognizing game, right? But the game that was being played that day was actually pretty interesting.
I think you're right. He's got the Derek Jeter mentality.
Both guys would be trading blows. Chris Paul, point guard, flow general. JJ Redick, sharpshooter extraordinaire. And Duke almost came back.
21 for Chris Paul. Redick for three. Back to Redick for three. Oh.
Redick dropped a 30 bomb, and he had a chance to tie it.
Here's Redick. Look at that range.
But as most of us know, since then, they've buried a hatchet. Chris Paul saying here that they actually had a chance to become real close and they connected right away. And it was that competitiveness that brought them together. Now let's get into some juicier beefs.
Harden fouled by Ingram. Do they count it? No.
Now we're skipping a little bit ahead, but this was a very interesting game.
And he never put the ball back down. And I think another technical foul's been handed out.
Now, I don't know what got into Ingram that day, but he gave us some great content.
I mean, I got pushed in the back randomly.
Because with that in the backdrop, something else boiled over.
I'm not sure what happened.
Ingram, who's usually pretty mild-mannered, was hot. Now Paul punches a throw. Paul and Rondo throwing punches.
Now before this moment, right, they were both going at each other. A bit of physical play from both ends. Rondo seemed to have gotten the better of him. Then Chris Paul flexing on him later on. And this beef had some real meat to it.
There's going to be suspensions for this one as Rondo immediately heads back to the locker room.
A lot of people were confused, like what caused this to happen?
And then Paul gets in the face. Rondo throws a punch. Paul throws a punch. Ingram comes in here. He throws a punch.
Oh, he puts his finger right in his face, and that's what led to the first punch.
Right. So it right there. The first contact was Chris Paul.
Unbeknownst to the local broadcast, Chris Paul had said something that ESPN had overheard.
When Chris Paul was over here, he said that Rondo spit on him.
This replay got released later on after the game. Shout out Rachel Nichols. She was one of the first ones to really publicize it. Yeah, you can see Rondo spitting there. Yikes.
Well, watch. The first contact is right there, and then punches start. Boom.
Well, it makes sense now seeing Chris Paul try to, cover his face. He was wiping all that disgusting Rondo juice.
We were hearing that Chris reacted because he felt like he got spit in the face.
Yeah.
Is that what happened?
That's what
he
was said.
That's what he said.
Yeah, and as a man, I mean, the only thing you can do and react is stand up for yourself.
It was bull. Unacceptable. You don't do that to nobody.
Have you seen that in an NBA game before?
Man, you don't even see that in the streets.
And thankfully, disciplinary action was issued to all parties involved.
2 technical fouls on Ingram, in addition to the personal foul, so he's ejected. Technical foul on both on Rondo and Chris Paul. They're ejected.
What did you see out there during the dispute?
Didn't see anything.
Are you serious? LeBron, you're right there. Now, it is funny to look at this from the Lakers' standpoint.
You got to him in time?
I just try to break it up. Nobody really want to fight.
I was just with Lance trying to get the eye out of it.
You ever seen that side of Ingram come out before? A lot of us haven't.
No, he's usually quiet. But I mean, you poke a bear, you probably get bit.
Now I looked up the post game, and I'm not gonna lie, not much that was said was interesting.
Somebody spit on you. To play this long, and that has never happened, but it is what it is. Fellas got to get ready for Utah tomorrow, and I get ready for the Clippers on Friday.
Now that is until I saw Rondo's post game. Oh man.
Did you say anything to the team about
No.
As one of the leaders of this team, how do you go about taking accountability for the incident itself in terms of giving the team message?
Everyone knows who I am, on my team, and I think they still respect me for what I do and what I bring to this team.
What started it?
Basketball, the game.
Now, including Rondo, they were all suspended from playing basketball at the game. And Paul Pierce, very interesting commentary here.
I am not surprised at all. For you people out there who don't know, Rondo and Chris Paul have never liked each other. This dates back to maybe Rondo's rookie year or second year. They've had heated exchanges over the course of the year. I'm surprised that this is their first fight, actually.
Shout out to Secret Base. They've covered a lot of the details of this beef. And I'm just going to, pick some of the parts that are relevant to this video.
Rondo was eager to prove critics wrong and claimed to have done so by winning a ring in 2008. None of those other young point guards had done the same.
Now, not many people are sure of the origin point of the beef, but a lot of people point to this moment where Chris Paul and others were getting paid money. Rondo feeling bitter because he won a ring and they didn't.
The pair also picked up technicals for wrestling a little bit.
Now, during a regular season game is when we see the inflection point where both Chris Paul and Rondo, got into it.
And whatever tension built during the game snapped afterward.
Chris Paul having some things to say was separated a little bit there.
It's a good old kerfuffle with some words exchanged. Chris Paul like, oh, back off, man.
I think Rondo started it by coming over to Chris Paul. You got to leave that alone if you're Rajon Rondo.
The typical round of post-game handshakes got Rondo had trash-talked with Paul by saying, and this is a direct quote, "I've got a ring and you're never going to win one."
And there were reports talking about Chris Paul disputing with Tom Thibodeau and, wanting to go to the locker room. Chris Paul denied all that. And part of me feels bad for Rondo because he clearly has an inferiority complex, even after winning a ring and getting that extension he so desperately desired. A lot of people were attributing his success largely to the fact that he was on the Celtics. With one person on the Hornets essentially saying that he's lucky that he had to play with KG, Paul Pierce, Ray Allen, Rasheed Wallace. If Chris Paul was playing with that, he'd be way better. And if Rondo was playing New Orleans, he'd be way worse. And he would not have gotten that big juicy contract that he wanted. And the worst part is, guys, the Celtics brass, the front office, seemed to think so too.
Celtics GM Danny Ainge got on the phone to discuss trading Rondo for Chris Paul.
And this wasn't just hearsay. Kendrick Perkins recently confirmed as much.
It came up that Chris Paul wanted out, I guess, and it was rumors starting to circulate, and it was brought to the table that what if we trade Rondo and get CP?
As Secret Base perfectly outlined, it's not like everybody was thinking this. I mean, Shaq even thought that Chris Paul wasn't better than Rondo, but Ray Allen was a guy that Rondo had a few beefs with as well. And I'll be honest with you, Ray Allen was all on board with this trade. And yes, Kendrick Perkins said so as well.
And KG and Paul was like, nah, we ain't doing that. Like, as great as CP is, man, we just won the championship. We rocking with dope. Like, he giving us everything that we need. But Ray was like, nah, let's do it. And what happened was Rondo ended up finding out about it, and that was it from there. It was even to the point where we bought boxing gloves to the gym, and they got on boxing gloves.
Now, fortunately for Rondo, the trade didn't happen, partly because Doc Rivers didn't want it to happen, and they just couldn't get it done.
According to Ray Allen's 2018 autobiography, Coach Rivers vetoed the trade because he couldn't do that to his old friend, Hornets coach Monty Williams.
Around the time, too, the Lakers got rejected from trading for Chris Paul, and the Clippers got him home, man. Now, that's a story for another day, as, Jalen Rose here, tries to talk about the situation. Keyword here being tried to, because the crowd...
And I want to ask you, obviously, Kiki Vandeweghe was in the building. He will be the one, when the punishment does come down, to give that out. What can we expect?
Now, I know this dude was the happiest person alive when Bam scored 83. Paul apparently also got into it with the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
I screamed, you could win 20 championships and this would always be a Laker town.
I'm gonna get cooked for not knowing who this is, but this dude had some problems because Chris Paul was, trash talking back.
Chris Paul came up to me and did this weird reverse psychology on me. He got right up in my face and he said, hey, it is gonna be a Lakers town, isn't it? It's always gonna be a Lakers town. And normally I got a comeback and I was just deer in the head. I was because he broke the invisible wall, and then he mad dogged me. The Clippers handed the Lakers the worst regular season loss in franchise history.
And during that incident with Rondo, his other bandmate got into it with Chris Paul as well.
Anthony was just started screaming, screaming profanities at Chris Paul. Chris Paul nearly lunged at him, but didn't. The assistant coach from the Rockets came and started screaming at Anthony, you shut up! And Anthony started screaming at him too, and then the Red Jackets just came and took him out.
And I think it's relevant to talk about all these key points because it all ties back together when eventually Doc Rivers goes and coaches Chris Paul.
Rivers was also the Clippers' senior VP of basketball ops for a while and brought in several former Celtics to complement his core of Paul, Blake Griffin, and DeAndre Jordan, which will be relevant later.
I was about to say that, but okay, I guess. Yeah, this one beef actually led to a lot of other inflection points in his career.
Everyone wants to believe Chris Paul is a good guy. They don't know he's a horrible teammate. They don't know how he treats people.
And it's funny that they've been going back and forth for years, even in 2018. They're bickering at each other during the game where, Rondo got a tech.
That's my favorite point guard, Chris Paul, man. Chris Paul, man. What's up, man? Who? You ain't Chris Paul?
Nah, who are you?
Oh, you ain't Chris? Oh, you wrong person?
Yeah, for a second, I got confused as well, bro. I get it, bro. I don't blame you.
Man, tell them, if you ain't trying to contend with the Warriors, then what are we doing?
Chris Paul, oh boy, got traded to the Rockets.
Chris Paul's Clipper career is officially over.
What the hell is going on?
Chris Paul has been traded to the Houston Rockets? James Harden is that thirsty for a ring?
Tag team of Harden and Paul. What a backcourt. Elite.
We talked about the ultimate goal, and that's winning.
And on the way to his goal of winning, there were some kerfuffles. Oh, man. Against his former team at that.
At center stage, Chris Paul and his return to face his former team for the first time since being traded. Match Capella on Wallace. He knocked it away and stripped him of the ball. Teodosic, Griffin, Paul got in the way and knocked it away, and it's loose.
There was noticeably a lot more bickering, and Chris Paul was in the thick of it.
There's some words being said back and forth from CB3 and Wes Johnson.
And then it would be former teammates, Chris Paul and Blake Griffin, going at it.
That's a foul. By the way, they never got together today. We thought maybe they would shake hands before the tip. We didn't see it.
A lot of people felt that they didn't get along while they played together, and here's the foul and the little bit of elbow afterwards.
You could obviously tell this was just an emotional game.
Outside it goes. Clippers in this quarter shooting. And a technical foul. It's on Gerald Green, am I right?
Yes.
24, 7, and 6 assists. Pickpocketed there. Gordon, surrounded by white jerseys. Still drives, still scoops, knocked away. Johnson.
Oh, my goodness. Wow. That should have been goaltending right there. I got to see that again. Looked like that. It was on the backboard.
Griffin.
The whole Rocket squad just going at the ref, talking about, yo, bro, that's not a foul.
Here's a potential 5-point play here, and swing.
Oh, now we've got some Paul and Griffin words.
Looked like there was an elbow there at the end of that play there from Blake on that and one.
And people thought, oh, Blake Griffin, he must have been talking to CP3. No.
Oh, look at this.
Oh, the words were between D'Antoni and Blake Griffin, and then Trevor Ariza comes over with the little elbow shove. There was nothing between CP3 and Blake.
But as you can see, there's still 3 minutes left in this game, and yes, it got juicier.
This year.
Griffin held. Ooh, there's a little shove at Paul as the two go down the lane again.
And now Teresa going at Blake. Oh boy.
Griffin gets the ball and throws it off of Gordon, trying to get it out of bounds, and the players didn't like that from the Rocket side because they thought there was a little bit of malice, perhaps. And Gordon didn't like it.
Oh yeah, Blake.
You love to see that energy. Let's get toxic over here.
You're throwing the ball off.
Oh, and there was an Ariza shove from behind.
Sure was.
And this is now where we get to the penultimate coup de grace.
And Trevor's having words over in the bench right now.
Go again.
Yeah.
Oh, they just tossed. They just tossed Griffin.
Now Griffin and Ariza going at it. Blake Griffin gets ejected, but Ariza seems to be talking to somebody else now.
Ariza certainly having words with Austin Rivers, who's in Civvies. When do these two teams play again? Wednesday, February 28th is the next time these two teams get together.
And for this game to end like this, I mean, Jerry West had to come all the way down.
And Paul thought the clock had run out.
And just when you thought Chris Paul losing in his return game was the end of it.
4 Rockets players, James Harden, Chris Paul, Gerald Green, and Trevor Ariza literally breached the Clippers locker room.
That one seemed to have escalated way too quickly. I mean, how did this happen?
Then you had a loud celebration in the Clipper locker room that was heard in the Houston Rockets locker room. I think that added to some of what transpired here. But the locker rooms at Staples Center are very close together.
Yeah, they're close together, and there's actually a back room.
Went through a back hallway that connects the Rockets locker room with the Clippers, got into the room. They were calling for Austin Rivers, Blake Griffin. Security got to them before there was any contact. The Clipper players saw them come in, I was told. They jumped up to their feet, but there was no physical confrontation. And while that was going on, Rocket Center, Clint Capella was knocking on the front door of the locker room. He was not let in.
And I'm just curious, who in the world would even do this?
There's only a couple people who know about this sort of back entrance.
Tisk, Chris Paul at it again. Now, apparently the local authorities, the LAPD, had to intervene.
They're laughing at the incident. They don't believe.
And it made for some of the best sports television ever.
I know why you're laughing. I played in the NBA for 16 years. And I've been on TV for 18 years. It's the first time I ever heard police presence. They got, wait. They got a police presence? Are you kidding me?
Expecting these two to take any of this seriously, it was just a lost cause from the TNT crew.
LAPD was called. See, these two, man. Come on, man. You know why they're laughing. Come on, man. Because they would. I don't know. Police. I don't know why. Hello, police. Chris Paul trying to beat me up. This is Blake Griffin. Chris Paul trying to get in the locker room.
Out that it was Clipper players who were requesting any kind of.
Somebody had Chris Paul. Police presence.
Come in and get
the police and get Blake Griffin.
What's the real story?
Breaking news. We've got eyewitness report confirming the details.
A lot of it's true. A lot of it's true. I'm sitting at my locker, which is, the locker room, going toward the training room.
The locker's
my locker's
there.
in the corner right there. And then all of a sudden I see the homie from the Rockets right here. And I'm like, yo, hey, what you doing, bro? You can't be up in here.
Yeah.
Get out. What you doing? I'm standing up. He's like, no, I'm looking for somebody. I'm looking for that motherfucker right there.
Oh, my God.
And I'm like, nah, bro, you got to get out of here. I'm pushing him out of here. When I push him out to the hallway, I see the whole Rockets team.
Yeah.
The way DeAndre is telling the story, he must have been terrified. Like, they pulled up like the mafia.
Y'all not talking to him.
Right.
All 15 of y'all want to talk to him?
him?
No, that's not happening. Then when I turn around, I got my whole teammates here. Somebody has a weight in their hand. So this was just like a crazy situation.
Even the daytime talking heads were confused. Like, bro, Chris Paul, really? You doing this?
For you to go to their locker room and create all of this disturbance and have us all talking about you handling yourself unprofessionally after the game as opposed to what took place on the floor, and the Clippers have actually played better basketball. It just shows that the Houston Rockets were salty that they got beat.
Hey, for real. Hey, we're gonna talk about this tomorrow. You got more shoes than motherfucker going to jail.
Now, the next time Chris Paul visited LA, he was in a more jovial mood.
Was the tape a pretty good final punchline to this whole thing?
Was what?
The tape back there, pretty good final punchline to everything?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, there's some yellow caution tape behind me.
And in 2026, this Clippers mess seemed to have brought old friends together. It took all this drama, apparently for Blake Griffin and Chris Paul, former teammates, to reunite together alongside DeAndre Jordan, all laughing it up, all having fun, hoo ha ha, keying. Bro, this is insane.
Chris Paul had a legendary career and is a legendary Clipper. We did not make this move because of our underperformance. He had nothing to do with that.
But of course, Lawrence Frank had to set the record straight. Guys, we're not scapegoating him by no means.
I take full responsibility for our record. We're not scapegoating Chris Paul. We have many issues, and we're going to address each issue for our underperformance. But I do want to make it clear, we have respect for Chris, for the career that he's had, and for his impact on the organization when he did help transform the franchise. And we're not blaming him for our underperformance.
He's obviously trying to get ahead of the PR nightmare that this is all turning out to be. Yeah, if you respected Chris Paul so much, I don't think you would have treated him the way you did. Sending him home in the middle of the night while he's on a plane during a road trip? Yeah, that's fucked up.
Surprised at it.
Kawhi being asked about Chris Paul, looks like he's being held at gunpoint.
He's always been a willing teammate. When I spoke to him, like I said, the only thing I can talk about is our conversations.
Bro, this dude does not want to talk about this. You can tell he's just uncomfortable. Bro, he probably figured to himself, I don't even know where you're sitting at.
Yeah. That's pretty good. That's pretty
Bro, Taylor be making these dudes act different.
I don't even know where you're sitting at. I don't even know where you're sitting at.
Bro, what is this timeline, bro? Blake Griffin doing the laugh too, bro. Oh my.
I talked to everybody in and around this, so my answer would be no, that there were so many other ways you could have done this.
Shout out Ramona Shelburne. She wrote this article here on ESPN basically detailing how ugly this divorce was. In that article, she got quotes from a lot of different sources, executives, people that hate Chris Paul as well. And a lot of these quotes were quite revealing in terms of what really caused the rift to get sour. There wasn't really one thing, as one person close to the situation said. The team, it seemed like, wanted Chris Paul just to be an end of the bench role guy. One executive put it best: if all they wanted was a cheerleader, why did they sign Chris Paul? I mean, they had him before. They knew what he was like. This guy is a gamer. This guy wants to freaking contribute to the game.
There was a few scenarios in which CP was holding people accountable.
The Clippers were just annoyed at this.
From players to staff, from coaching staff up to the front office.
Now, I do want to rewind back to 2018, 2019.
We're talking about Chris Paul as if he's bad. Chris Paul is a very, very good player, and he is still good enough to be a lead player, a top 2 or top 3 player on a championship caliber team.
I'd be remiss not to mention Ryan Hollins, one of Rondo's former teammates, one of Chris Paul's former teammates, who's picked a side clearly.
Because he was with Harden in a situation that was not ideal for him. We're looking at him like he is awful. He can still play defense at a pretty high level. I just heard Jalen Rose say it this morning, so don't blame me. The man said it this morning on Get Up. He said he can play
Who's he gonna guard?
defense of multiple positions at a high level. Jalen Rose said it. Don't get mad at me, get mad at
The
him.
amount of disgust this dude has for what he just said is actually hilarious.
When's the last time he was an All-Star? 4 seasons. When's the last time he's been healthy? Hold on. Here's the reality. When he was moved to the Thunder, the first thing they voice and say is, we are moving and trading Chris Paul. The first thing, hey, he will never wear an Oklahoma City Thunder jersey. You would never have said something about this. I played with Chris. And the one thing I will say in response, Chris is going to go down as one of the greatest point guards we've ever seen play a game of basketball. He's going to be remembered for the pick and roll. But in all reality, Father Time is undefeated. He's not the same player.
This is why I was only arguing with Max, because those are 2 trash arguments.
Chris Paul had a terrible year in Houston. They got traded to the Thunder. And it felt like a moment where a lot of the Chris Paul haters got their agendas off.
When you hurt that hamstring, you go and play on it. It doesn't heal the right way. It's literally never the same. Chris Paul is to a point in his career, well, he'll never play 82 games. He'll never be able to get you through a season. And if we're going to talk about elite, one elite player on a squad gets you to the playoffs. Chris Paul alone does not get you to the playoffs. Who's better, Chris Paul or Mike Conley Jr. right now?
Mike Conley.
Mike Conley Jr. or Chris Paul?
Chris Paul.
is better than Mike Conley Jr., yes or no?
Not even close, bro. Not even close,
Mike
bro.
Conley's
Not
better
even
than
close,
Chris Paul.
bro.
Right now,
Chris Paul can return to the Chris Paul of 2 years ago, which we both agree was elite. You're arguing that he can't do that. I think that's absurd.
And it's just very interesting how he's clearly disgusted at what he's saying, even though it's not that controversial to begin with.
Rondo probably has more left in the tank right now. Chris is a better shooter. We can agree to disagree or go back and forth on that. But the reality is, what you need in that...
who's a better player, Rondo or Chris Paul, right now?
Right now, Rondo. Right now, Rondo.
Oh, come on.
Right now, Rondo.
All right, I can't
right
talk
now,
to you.
Rondo.
I can't talk to you.
We're looking at health. We're looking at
What
impact.
are you mad? Did CP3 not let you in the huddle when you were on the...
Hey, that ain't what it's about.
Him?
Chris ain't healthy. If Chris is healthy, this is a different conversation.
Sure.
Completely different conversation.
So clearly he's arguing bad faith. Now, there was another time later on that summer that he said the same thing.
It kind of sounds like you're saying Rondo is a better player than CP3.
Absolutely. Rondo is healthier right now. Just by health alone, he's going to be able to give you more.
Glenn Baby Davis also siding with Rondo and all this. Reply talking about spill the tea bag. Okay, dude. Murray, of course, unsurprisingly, tweeting in support of Chris Paul, basically calling Rondo the hypocrite that he is. Back then, guys used to tweet a lot of interesting things. Now, Chris Paul, it was clear he heard all the naysayers.
Talk to us about Oklahoma City. You know, when you went there, you and I talked, you know, and I thought, I had a great feeling. I was like, bro, you're going to go there and kill. Like, you're going to be, because it really pissed me off when you were in Houston and they said you was washed. Oh, CP can't do that. I was like, nah, motherfucker.
Yeah, right.
He was just playing in a tough situation.
And a guy like Chris Paul, it felt like he had to make sure he reminded people who he was.
When I got to Oklahoma, I had to prove myself. It's not like when I went from the Hornets to the Clippers, right?
No.
Like when I went from the Hornets to the Clippers, it's like everybody know they're nice. You know what I'm saying? You just come right in.
That motherfucker nice.
When I went to Oklahoma, I had to prove myself, you know what I mean, to the younger guys or whatever, to show them that, you know, whether that's the case or not, if the media put you out there somewhat washed, people start to think that.
Let's just say Chris Paul clearly showed that he was not washed. In fact, actually got the team to be better.
Comeback complete. The Thunder match a franchise record and come back from 26 down to take down the Chicago Bulls.
They were dubbed the comeback kids, led by Chris Paul as well. Schroeder also being great for them. It was one of those seasons that you couldn't predict for the OKC Thunder.
Another drive from SGA, right on McGruder. Hard foul, count it. He has just got so much confidence right now.
I think like everybody's seen the whole entire year, he's got an array of shots, you know, in around the basket with both hands.
They won games where they were down 15 against the Rockets. They were down 19 in the third. They won that game. At Celtics, they won that game where they were down 18. They were just impressive.
You know, this is truly a team, man. One thing about it is we play for each other.
This team is special, you know. It just never give up.
But even that season, Chris Paul proved he would win by any means necessary.
All inbounded to Towns, who is fouled immediately with 1.1. And will put him at the free throw line. But Towns can put this game away at the line.
In a game where Cat misses the first free throw, right? The biggest thing to happen here, a substitution, and oh boy.
But you want him to make this free throw. Well, Minnesota just got dinged for a delay of game.
And Minnesota's coaches cannot believe it. Cat now has to make it a 2-point game after Gallinari makes the free throw. Oh no.
They made it. So Adams launches it to Schroeder. Schroeder catches and scores!
Unbelievable. A game that goes to overtime thanks to a Steven Adams quarterback throw that was seemingly instructed by Schroeder to make, and Jeff Teague just cannot get the stop here. Oh,
they've been asking us on Twitter the last 2 weeks. They didn't know if you remember being a part of that untucked game with Chris Paul. We got lost at the free throw line because of that shit.
Yeah, I remember that shit. Jordan Bell was subbing in the game, and he had his jersey untucked, and we already had got a delay of game.
And that's why I love the NBA, because something like this could be the difference between a game being decided in the fourth and the game being decided in OT.
And Chris was like, you have to fucking call it, which was technically they had to. But the ref didn't want to call it, but the nigga was so like, that's part of the rules. You know the fucking rules. You know the fucking rules. And the ref was like, looking at it, I was like, no. Or it was like, I have to call it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Chris Paul being a D1 snitch, bro, that would piss me off too.
Called that shit. I was like, oh, that's some whole ass shit. I was mad as fuck. That ain't why we lost though. Oh, okay. We lost because a nigga threw a full court pass. Nigga hit a layup on me. Dennis Schroeder, little ass.
Like, I could just imagine this happening on recess. Randall going up and saying, Miss Finster, his jersey's untucked. That's a delayed game.
I was pissed.
Damn, bro.
We was sad as hell.
Well, niggas probably thinking about Chris Paul doing that shit, really.
I was just like, damn. I talked to CP and them after the game. I mean, like, it was like, he know the game. He knows he know what's fuck going on. So I wasn't even mad at him. I had 30-something anyway, so I ain't give a fuck. I was like, I came off the bench with a 30-piece. Like,
oh, that's hard.
Paul, that game giving us shades of D-Lo. Oh, man. And the worst part is, if you bet on this game, Timberwolves plus 3.5, and not only did they lose, but they got destroyed in overtime.
Probably the worst made free throw of his career. Yeah, that's what happened.
And thanks to Tattletale Chris Paul, man, he set a precedent during that season.
Peyton comes on. He's been the Knicks' best player in the last few games. 14 at Golden State, 16 at Sacramento.
One shot.
As Barrett
Entering with an untucked jersey. Now, on the broadcast, you can hear the referee say, y'all can thank Chris Paul for that.
goes out. Elfrid Payton, he's a true point
And that
guard.
happened again against OKC. And Chris Paul, at this point, he just felt bad.
What do we got here? We got a whistle. We got to get a delay of game on Johnson.
Look at Chris Paul. He looked at the official. San Antonio just got called with a delay of game. And CP3 says, don't call it. Don't call it.
And the biggest irony of them all, Chris Paul's jersey's untucked.
Timberwolves are going to use a timeout, and Chris Paul jersey untucked and all. I mean, that thing is really down.
The irony of Chris Paul walking around with his jersey untucked is just thick.
As I said during this season, they were dubbed the comeback kids because of how clutch they were.
They have been so dominant in clutch time.
And no better way to show that than in Game 6 against the Rockets.
Westbrook daring him to shoot the shot.
Westbrook will shoot it. Air ball for Westbrook. Saved by Harden, and it hits Gallinari. Houston ball.
Rockets up 3-2 on the series. And yeah, would you look at that? Rockets retain possession.
And almost a turnover. Here's Harden. Shot clock ticks. Got to get one up as the timer runs out.
And you just knew who would get the ball in the closing minutes for OKC.
And Paul gets right by him. It's going to be a foul.
Chris Paul with a nifty move to the basket gets fouled. And that's just who OKC would go to in the clutch as he makes them both.
Oklahoma City by 2. The Rockets with the shot clock off. And a turnover as Russell Westbrook, another giveaway.
All of a sudden, Westbrook giving his former team more life.
Big foul is coming. They let it play, and now a hard foul by Westbrook.
But you're telling me a team with championship aspirations may be headed to a Game 7 in the first round.
And Gallinari, all he has to do is hit these free throws, and what do you know? He hits them both.
Harden puts up a heave, can't get it to go, and the buzzer sounds.
The best 2 words in sports, and guess what? Who would you rather have in this Game 7?
Janae, you heard Chris Paul. Some people are just built for fourth quarter.
After a down year in Houston, getting traded to the Thunder and making this a 7-game series against a team that was supposed to be far better. Man, that just says everything about Chris Paul's character and how the team has bought in.
If it gets to crunch time, Chris Paul is going to have the mental edge in this. Big game for James Harden tonight.
Because the Houston Rockets were so favored in this series, there's a lot riding on this for the front office and the coach. Something tells me they're both about to get fired soon.
I don't make predictions, but I predict that Scott Foster is the big winner tonight.
Oh boy, the Scott Foster factor in this one. Chris Paul and Harden struggled with him as a ref.
Because somebody is going to not having to blame him anymore because the Rockets have lost their last 7 playoff games with Scott Foster officiating it. They have essentially blamed their Game 7 loss to the Warriors a few years ago on him, even though they missed 27 straight threes.
But that was the past. They have a chance to right their wrongs tonight.
Some people are built for it. Some people shy away from it.
Many people say this is a legacy-defying game for both Harden and Chris Paul.
Westbrook from the free throw line driving on Gallinari. Put her on the attack. But a long battle back this season for Eric Gordon, who had injury. Got it back. Over to Westbrook with the left hand, no good.
And I guess both teams are just content with missing.
It up to Schroeder. Westbrook cross court, Tucker, his favorite spot, but not this time. Covington inside.
A slugfest to end all slugfest. This, the encapsulation of a series.
Trailing, wide open, bucket.
And they have to be the second-year player to break the rust here.
Drives it in this time and knocks down the floater. Gilgeous-Alexander with nowhere to go. Schroeder got it off in time.
It's clear this game's gonna have to come down to getting stops.
Oh. Paul tried to take the charge. Adams picked Gordon clean and got the ball. Chris Paul. Harden falls. Bodies all over. Paul left it short.
It's not just Chris Paul. Even Schroeder and Shea struggling to hit shots in the clutch. Harden, same with him. Both teams just out of sorts right now.
That Chris Paul says he was built for.
He embraces this moment going against his former team.
Down by 1. OKC with the ball with less than 10 seconds left. Let's see what they got here.
Dort for 3. Blocked by Harden. Dort got it back. Tried to throw it off Harden and missed him. Don't ever talk about his defense again.
Harden with the game-sealing stop. The Rockets now playing the foul game. Just hit your free throws and you're more likely to win this one.
80% free throw shooter. Oh boy, rebounding. And
2-point game. Gallinari could tie it.
And Gallinari misses. And they get it blown.
What an unfortunate way to go out. And worse yet, during this game, there was a call that was made that was highly controversial.
It's for both teams and definitely for the Thunder. You have to keep scoring the basketball.
Rockets players seeing Chris Paul tie his shoe. He's taking so long. They're calling for a delay of game.
Delay of game, Oklahoma City. Technical foul.
And now we get into another beef that has been infamous.
Delay of game? It's crazy. This has been going on in the bubble, like the replays. They show the replays sometimes so that obviously it's an advantage if you get to see the replay and then you challenge. So like myself and I dropped down to tie my shoe up to hopefully see if we see the replay. Scott Foster walked over to me and told me, Chris, you ain't got to do that. I got him sweeping up the floor. Okay, cool. So I start tying my shoe back up and he still called the leg game. That don't make no sense.
And this instance in the bubble is just one of the many occurrences between these two.
They're gonna find me. I said his name. Yeah, we already know the history.
This beef is very unique as it is between the ref and the player.
Booker just 2 for 8 from the floor. And now foul called.
Chris Paul clearly protesting the call. Goes up to Scott Foster. Oh, man.
They're having a lengthy conversation right now.
Do you think that they're on each other's Christmas list? Do you think they send each other Christmas cards, Scott Foster and Chris Paul?
RJ, like everybody else, was oblivious to how far back this beef goes. Because once you know more of it, Chris Paul might as well get a restraining order.
This has been going on for a good 45 seconds.
This has been going on for 13
and now a technical foul. Scott Foster had enough.
And not only did he have enough, but he wanted Chris Paul out of there.
There it is. Scott Foster says goodbye. And now Steph Curry grabs Chris Paul.
Like, what could have prompted all of this?
A technical foul on Steve Curry.
At this point, Scott's on the ego trip. I mean, this is ridiculous.
It's personal. We had a situation some years ago, and it's personal. The league know, everybody know. It's been a meeting and all that, and it's just a situation with my son, and so I'm okay with a ref talking, saying whatever, saying just don't use a tech to get your point across.
After Scott ejects Chris Paul, he goes up to him and says, "You're a bitch. You're a bitch." And then Curry's like, "Yo, bro, stop." A lot of lip readers out there, they caught this part here where he says, "He's talking about my son. He's talking about my son." He said it twice. This is by far the juiciest beef we have on this video.
So in the situation with his son, I believe after a game, Lil Chris was playing in the tunnel. Scott Foster in the car with the other refs rolls up to him, like honks the horn at him, yells at him, "Get the fuck out the way," and some other expletives.
To a little kid.
To a little kid.
So back in 2021, Josiah and Gilbert Arenas, they interviewed Chris Paul. They even shared some things that were said off record from Chris Paul.
He also shed some light on some conversations they've had throughout the years with Scott Foster, kind of just saying some fuck shit before games, including big playoff games.
Yeah, that playoff game, I think it was against the Spurs, when he went up to him and said, "Hey, you haven't won against me on closeout games?" I told him to his face, "You haven't won." Like, what the fuck are you telling me that for? Boom, lost.
Even Mark Spears said that during the bubble playoffs in Game 7, he reminded Chris Paul that.
In the case of Chris Paul, this particular situation here illustrated why I'm not sure that the NBA should have Scott Foster officiate Chris Paul games
It's
anymore.
a pattern that's been seen for years. The NBA just can't hide it.
I don't know. It was a lot of fun. I got a tech tonight. Yeah, Scott Foster at his finest. You know what I mean? Yeah. He just never fails.
And it doesn't matter how many times Chris Paul complains, the league won't do anything about it.
He got the power because he can call the tech. That's how it's been for a long time. I ain't gonna go there. Let me chill. Yeah, you got
To say about the integrity of your league that I can pull up graphs like this where at one point Chris Paul was on a 12-game losing streak with Scott Foster, the referee.
This was before the game. An interesting long discussion, Scott Foster and Chris Paul.
And I know Scott Foster is one of the most highly respected referees, yada, yada, yada. In the Game 6 in the NBA Finals, though?
He is not Chris Paul's favorite official, perhaps his least favorite. And Paul has talked about his team's poor record as Ayton misses.
Not to take anything away from what Giannis did that game because he scored 50. But the writing was on the wall.
I wonder what they were talking about, though. You're 2-15. I'm 2-15 with you.
Even Gilbert Arenas, he makes a great point. Like, the betting odds shifted.
Game said they were supposed to win by 4. The referees came out. Scott Foster is on it. Do you know damn near all of America went with...
Changed their bet.
Went with Bucks.
Yeah.
They took Bucks -4. That shit flipped. Vegas, soon as I see Scott Foster, hey, can you remove my 5K? I want to put 15K on the Bucks.
Say Game 6 odds opened at Milwaukee -4.5.
It got bet up to 5.
In the win
0.5. It went up 0.5.
Questioning the integrity of Adam Silver's league is nothing new, but it's just so irritating seeing a referee just take over a game as if he's the one that we came here to watch.
Hey, how about that ref that said he hates you? What's that all about?
Man, I'm gonna be honest with you, but that ref, I had to look him up when he said, what was his name? He was in the league for a long time, and you probably can guess who one of his homeboys is.
That's the more astounding thing about this is that he has connections with a dude that literally had to spend prison time for rigging games.
For his crimes, Donaghy would spend 15 months in federal prison.
And these days, Tim Donaghy is basically going to news networks and podcasts, and he's basically playing the role of like the former whistleblower.
What do you think about what's going on here?
You know, I think we're just at the tip of the iceberg.
He even appeared on the Pat McAfee show where he was asked about, the games. Are they rigged?
Their earpieces on. And there's always calls that seem to favor the big-time stars in critical games of the NBA. Does the NBA have their hands in those types of decisions?
Absolutely. When you look at the NBA during the playoffs, they send a representative in and you watch the games. And when a team is down 3-0 in the series, they show you film of the previous 3 games and they tell you what to look for and what to concentrate on. And what they do is they program and train those referees to make calls for that team that's down in the series so it doesn't become a sweep. It goes from 3-0 to 3-1, maybe 3-2, generates a lot more revenue and income for the entire league.
The NBA hates you, huh?
What can I do?
You think this dude has all the evidence against the NBA and he's just waiting for the right time to expose them.
This is widespread. I think it's going to be very damaging to the league. And, I just received a text message from one of the FBI agents that worked my case. And he basically said that they're not going to be able to cover this up like they covered up my case.
What do you mean by that?
David Stern was able to basically put a lid on it and paint me as one bad apple, the only guy involved, and nobody else did anything but me. And, we're going to move on from it. The FBI said that there was 6 or 7 other people that they wanted to indict.
7? No way we're hearing this number again for the second time. I promise you, I'm not making this shit up. I'm not trying. Look. Donaghy, bro, he did sing a different tune back then in those past years.
The disgraced referee insisted he had never fixed any games.
I was not actually in these games fixing the games and throwing calls to win a bet.
So I'm not gonna lie, bro. I'm not saying this guy's a trustworthy source. I'm basically saying this guy's slimy.
You expect us to believe that you did nothing to manipulate the outcome of an NBA game.
Everybody's entitled to their opinion, but I can just go back and tell you again that the FBI and even the NBA concluded without a doubt that I did not fix NBA games.
And he's technically not wrong. The FBI and the NBA did not find any quote-unquote evidence of the rigging.
What does your gut tell you whether Tim Donaghy influenced the outcome of games by making excessive calls?
We can't find it, and his fellow refs can't find it, and as best as we can tell, law enforcement can't find it. So I accept the prevailing view.
And when ESPN was doing this investigation years later, right, this former FBI agent said that this whole thing never flew with them. Like the NBA saying there was no evidence. It was basically them just being desperate enough, that they were eager enough to move on from that.
It's impossible to fix NBA games. That there are too many red flags that would be thrown up. But Scala says when someone tells you something's impossible, they're full of... Although Donaghy admitted to betting on games as far back as 2003, the NBA investigation of Donaghy only analyzed 17 games he officiated in the 2006-2007 season.
And so what ESPN did was they analyzed all the 40 games that were relevant that they didn't analyze.
10 of the games were blowouts, and therefore discarded from the analysis. In 23 of the 30 games that were competitive, Donaghy's calls favored the team that his partners had wagered on.
Bro, if you're better with those odds, bro, you're making a lot of moolah. I'm just saying.
The odds of that imbalance occurring randomly, 6,155 to 1.
So I have to just give a bit of the background before I get into the connections that, Tim Donaghy and Scott Foster have, because apparently they actually are close. And back then, it seemed like that Donaghy was actually making a lot of calls to Scott Foster during his time, but the government cleared Foster of any wrongdoing. The NBA also did. And of course, Scott Foster himself saying, I don't know how I missed the signs of Donaghy betting on games. I'm 100% sure he's the only one, though. It's like, bro, he's still able to ref these playoff games, even with the seeming connection, right, with Donaghy. And there's a lot of people, even back then, that were talking about all the phone calls they were having around this time. But because the phone calls didn't seem like they were talking about much about the betting, Scott Foster was still able to ref playoff games, even years down the line. Where to this day, he's still one of the most highly respected NBA referees.
Scotty.
But it was funny. He was probably mad that I didn't put him in that last State Farm commercial. The one with the referee?
That probably was the case.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
I got that State Farm commercial with the referee.
Yeah.
And he probably wanted to be in it.
No, but you work the refs a little bit?
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
And hold on, that's you and Scott Foster, right? Every time he refs your game, you don't win.
You said it.
No. Scott says it.
And over the years, this topic just gets covered more and more every time Scott Foster and Chris Paul meet each other in an NBA arena, right? Chris Paul, around the time November 2023, was 3-17 against Scott Foster as a referee. Again, shout out Tom Haberstraw for the great analysis he provided here.
They've scored 10 straight, the lead back up to 9. Oh, Chris Paul goes down hard on his back as Beverly's whistled for the foul. Beverly laughing and mocking Paul.
And now we get to another juicy beef. I mean, I've said the word juicy so many times. It's like, it might as well be a drinking game. But look, Patrick Beverly, Chris Paul, there's bad blood there. A couple months ago, this same thing happened as well.
The escape hatch was there, but it couldn't find the finish.
Just a nasty, violent play from Patrick Beverly that resulted in him actually getting ejected out of this game.
Yeah, that's an elbow
chicken
right
wing.
there. Yep, that's an elbow right there.
And earlier in the series, when Chris Paul was not playing, there was a clash between him and Booker.
Zubac. And Booker fouled by Patrick Beverly. That's going to be 4 on Beverly as Booker is down.
Should have probably put a disclaimer, but yeah, there's a lot of blood here.
Just lean in and try and get him as Booker makes his move.
But you know what they say, an eye for an eye, or in this case, nose for a nose.
29 points tonight, gets it to Booker. Booker gets inside.
Well, he technically did not hit his nose, but hey, man, close enough, I guess.
You see that right arm coming up.
And by the time Chris Paul came back, Paul George was going off.
Paul George makes his move behind the back, pulls up jumper. It's good.
Cash in the first 4 games.
George on the pull-up, nails a 3.
I think many people remember Chris Paul bowing down to the Paul God right here. Oh, man. Yeah, this Game 5 ends up being a big win for the Clippers. And with Chris Paul being 1 game away from making his first NBA Finals, he went off in Game 6.
Paul, little shake and bake, drives past him, left-handed layup. It's good. Gorgeous move from Paul, and then Cousins knocks into Paul. Are they going to call a foul on that?
It must be my ADHD brain, because DeMarcus Cousins and Chris Paul, man, I've seen this before.
Cousins raised that right elbow. And Paul sold it extremely well.
Like Chris Paul jeering at the refs to eject DeMarcus Cousins. And you got Boogie here just in disbelief. Almost like he's not surprised, but it's just, damn, I'm disappointed. It's like he's seen this movie way too many times.
DeMarcus Cousins will be assessed a technical foul for this physical taunt. 1 free throw.
And I don't think I have to spend much time talking about DeMarcus Cousins and his anger issues and on the court, but he's had it with the Clippers.
That's what Blake is going to say, because he's in L.A. where actors belong. He's an actor.
One guy that Chris Paul had problems with that could match his energy was DeMarcus Cousins. And of course, Secret Base got us covered with the juicy beef here.
Wasn't there. Cousins. Up in the right short. Clippers win.
Like, there's so many moments where him and Chris Paul just butted heads.
Boogie airballed the game winner, then proceeded to forcefully prevent his teammate, Isaiah Thomas, from shaking Paul's hand post-game.
DeMarcus Cousins won't let Isaiah Thomas shake hands with the other team. He dragged everybody away.
That's not even the hand Isaiah was trying to shake.
Chris Paul, as petty as he can be, talking about how he needs some guidance.
When he had his own flare-up with Andrew Bogut on Christmas, Cousins was watching, and he chimed in.
And from Boogie's perspective, he thinks Chris Paul, the way he plays basketball, he's basically cheating out there, and he's just had enough.
There's Barnes at 3 on the way. And Jason Thompson has it.
Oh, now it makes sense why I thought this was familiar. This is deja vu all over again. He did this already.
It always seems like there's a little higher emotion level with the Clippers. I mean, the result wasn't what you wanted, but at the end of the day, it seems like you enjoy going up against those guys.
I hate him. Honestly, I do. I hate him.
In another regular season game, you got DeMarcus Cousins taking the ball, and Chris Paul yanks him, and then he throws the ball in his head.
Pass that's a rare missed pass by Jeff Green. Cousins just trying to keep the ball in play.
And honestly, I just can't help but feel bad for both Chris Paul and DeMarcus Cousins. They're both butting heads. They're both competitive, right? But DeMarcus Cousins getting hurt, right, when he was a Pelican against the Rockets, where there was a play where Chris Paul actually bumps into him, which led to an injury. Like, oh, man, I get why they hate each other.
No, he wanted that technical.
DeMarcus Cousins with some words.
Now, before we get back to this Game 6, right, DeMarcus Cousins, his takes over the years.
Can we get a top 5 all-time PGs list? Because I've been having this discussion back home in the gym a lot.
Do you feel like somebody shouldn't be on that list?
For me, it's Chris Paul. We every time I hear a top 5 PG list, Chris Paul is in it, and I'm not really understanding why. No knock to CP. I know people gonna say I'm biased or whatever. Strictly from an accolades and a performance standpoint, I don't think Chris Paul is.
Yeah, let's just say that you're the last person I want to hear about top 5 point guards.
We got to look at the point
All
guard.
right, so we talk about true point guards.
It's hard, but by technicality though.
About true point guards, and we going back to the top 5. Rajon Rondo got to be on the list.
Is this Kentucky love?
Is that Kentucky bias? I love Rajon.
I don't care if you don't. I said what I said.
I'll tell him what a pleasure it's been to play and watch him during his 20-year career. As far as Clippers go, is he number 1?
Clippers players, yeah. I mean, him coming back and sort of ending his career there is huge. I'd love to hear Boogie's thoughts.
Yeah, Boogie, where do you rank Chris Paul on point guards?
Hey, man, Blake, I'd rather hear from a guy that was his team, man.
That's really well done.
Take the floor, brother. Take the floor.
And these 2 videos are within the last year, so this is very recent stuff. It's just funny.
Yeah, and all-time Clippers, CP's got to be. He's got to be up there. He's got to be one.
What about point guards? Where do we just
all
you
time?
Don't have to, yeah.
Yeah.
We had a little production meeting earlier where things got a little bit out of control on this topic.
All time, he got to be top 5 all time.
All right, Blake, it was nice speaking with you today.
Top 5.
I don't know. I got to be honest. I haven't really put
research.
We'll get back to you. We'll get back to you in like a month.
But I think by far the most surprising part is how DeMarcus Cousins was talking about the Clippers waiving Chris Paul.
I can't sit here and say I agree with it. I think this is complete BS. He is one of the greats in this game. He's probably one of the last great pick and roll PGs to ever play this game. He put the Clippers on the map, him and Blake Griffin. I just feel more respect is deserved in this situation.
Is Mercury in retrograde? Like, bro, is the moon upside down? Like, what is happening here?
His entire career, this is what Chris Paul was highlighted for, being that voice, holding people accountable, being a leader in the locker room for the young guys, for the old guys. He held everybody accountable, and that was something that they loved about him. Now you move into this situation, and he's at a different point in his career, and now it's being turned into a negative. And that's the part I hate about the NBA, and I hate how they do veterans towards the end of their career.
This is what I love about the brotherhood in the NBA. You could be as competitive, you could hate each other on the court, but there's a level of respect that each NBA player has for their peers that is just unmatched.
And I know I've been critical of CP in the past, and I still hate the shit out the guy, but at the end of the day, At the end of the day, he deserves his flowers, and you can never knock him for being one of the greats in this game. First ballot Hall of Famer, no question.
And Chris Paul, he responded in kind to DeMarcus, respecting him as well. The feeling being mutual. It's great to see.
But me reading between the lines, I don't get caught up in the quotes and all that. I try to read between the lines, and for me, this is all one big ego trip. It's hard for me to register, one, why you have a problem with leadership and accountability. If you came into this season talking about we want to compete for a championship, when you compete for a championship, all of those things come with it. It's going to be hard conversations. It's going to be conversations that you don't want to hear. It's going to be days where your leader is chirping at you and you just got to accept it. So I'm confused.
Consistently going at it, hitting at Ty Lue being an egomaniac, hitting at the fact the Clippers are treating one of their best players like shit.
This is a guy that's the best player to ever come through your franchise. You know exactly who he is. This isn't something that just started this season. You've enabled this behavior his entire career. You signed him at the beginning of the season. You know exactly who he is. You know exactly what he brings. And a month in, 2 months in, all of a sudden what he brings is a negative or an issue. Like, I'm confused.
And I was confused as well based on how the Clippers were treating him. Let's go back to a couple months ago.
1-9 in the last 10 games, 1-4 since the CP3 breakup.
What's crazy is, they've been losing since Chris Paul left. But, there's a big but here because shortly after, though, the Clippers seem to have figured things out. They seem to be winning games. They were actually in the zone. Even with Harden wanting to get traded, and he did get traded for Darius Garland, they keep winning. I mean, they lose here and there, but they look like a fairly good team. They're at 500 right now. They're at freaking 500 right now. Yo, maybe Chris Paul was the problem. Oh, no. And this is where this video gets very interesting.
Malik, a 3-team trade here, but this is really just a salary tax type of deal. Chris Paul calling it a career.
Yes, his career is now over. In very surprising news, Chris Paul was traded to the Raptors. I was so shocked. I was actually pissed because apparently we ducked the tax for this dude, Chris Paul.
Toronto will not have Chris Paul report.
Chris Paul is probably one of my favorite players ever, and so it's a weird thing to trade for him, and then, he's at this point in his career.
He wasn't even required to report to the team. So basically we traded for a dude that we're going to end up waiving, and we did end up waiving this dude, Chris Paul. It's so funny, Toronto being the pit stop for Chris Paul to retire. Like, bro, it was a weird time, but it didn't change that people were upset how the Clippers treated him after all these years. I mean, he's a legend of the game. This guy did so much for you and for the NBA, and this is how you're gonna, this is how his career's gonna end. This is pathetic.
It's disgraceful what they did to CP3.
And of course, DeMarcus Cousins, of all people, agrees.
I don't think this looks good for the league. Weird. It should be some form of appreciation, some form of love for what the products of this game bring to the game.
And now back to Game 6 and the Patrick Beverly beef.
Beverly crossover, drives inside, layup is good!
Dancing against Chris Paul, lulls him to sleep, turns the corner. He did a CP3 on CP3.
I mean, it was a movie. This game, Chris Paul decided he was going to take over so that he can make his first ever NBA
Paul
Finals.
to the basket, lays it up and in. Paul gets inside, looks back, nobody near him, hits the jumper. There's the screen set by Ayton. Paul, pull-up jumper, puts it in.
Chris Paul responded. Here.
Paul, step back, three-pointer, puts it in, and the foul.
Returns the favor. CP3.
I remember this Game 6 like it was yesterday. Chris Paul was on a mission.
A 21-point lead for his Suns. Paul gets inside, flips it up, and in.
Devin Booker's at half court talking to the fans.
Paul for three, puts it in.
He dropped 41 in this game, and that last play right here wasn't even the craziest part.
We've seen this movie before. We have an issue on the court right now between both teams, but Chris Paul.
Beverly and Chris Paul.
As Chris Paul was going to the bench, he looks at Patrick Beverly passing by, and it looks like Chris Paul says something to him, and Pat Bev sees red.
This is now live as Beverly and Paul get it to look like some kind of pushing match.
This was definitely the push heard around the world.
Oh, what? I mean, that's as unsportsmanlike as it gets. Patrick Beverly losing control.
And that's just a Bush League play from a very dirty player.
Never happened before. A team making the finals after missing the playoffs for 10 years or more. Paul putting on the finishing touches. And then they added Chris Paul and Jay Crowder. And this has been a dream season for the Phoenix Suns.
And as I said, 41 points, 31 of those coming from the second half.
What do you think when you hear that sentence?
Man, it sounds damn good. Damn good. It's been a lot of work, man. A lot of work.
So many failures in the playoffs, but he's 4 wins away from a ring.
In this game, there was a point the Clippers cut it to 7. You then scored 14 of 16 points on your way to 41 for the game. What kind of mission were you on?
Don't lose. Don't lose mission. You know what I'm saying? Damn, that feel good. I wish my son and my family come down here.
I mean, this is just the ultimate victory. Not only in the game, right, where you win the series, but Pat Bev even conceding that he lost his cool there.
You guys knew then. Yeah, bro. Yeah. It hurt. It sting.
From that moment on, Chris Paul knew he won the game. He won the war.
What happened with Chris? What was going through your mind?
What we have has been going on since I was in high school.
And what Pat Bev is the Japanese soldier that still thinks World War II is going on.
I got invited to a LeBron James camp, the big Nike LeBron James camp when he was in college. Ironic, you're on a certain team and you get a chance to play against LeBron. I think OJ Mayo was there and Chris Paul was there. I killed them, destroyed them. I'm talking about in front of every fucking NBA scout out there. I'm just a sophomore in fucking college. I'm going at them every fucking play. I'm calling them a child. And then I see them in the NBA. So, of course, that energy is going to roll over to the NBA.
Not only does this dude display peaking in high school energy, but he says here something that's ironic.
Chris, he does slick shit. Like, people don't know that's a little dirty motherfucker, man. Chris know that too, man. And I love CP, bro. I love what he brings to the game. I love, like he changed the game also. So, like, you have to give him all his props, but, like, he knows how to finesse the system too. Like, and you got to give him credit for that too. So, it was just one of those ones I just had to get off my chest. And I called him right after. Too.
I always appreciate people like Pat Bev, right? Draymond's the same way. It's hilarious how much they lack self-awareness.
It was just frustration, added on to like, you go and the refs aren't going to foul out Chris Paul. You go for a layup, he pulls, you go to the side, you fall on your side. I don't know, you miss layup real bad. It looks like you're trash, but the whole time, like, ref, he just literally yanking you out the air. Like, like you guys didn't see that, but okay. You shoot a jump shot floater, he elbows you in the hip or some shit like that. And, you push him, whoa. Chris, man. So, but he does a job real well, so you got to respect it, man. You got to. I love his game.
And, of course, during the 2022 season, when Patrick Beverly with the Timberwolves made the play-in, he celebrated like it was a championship, and rightfully so. It was a great achievement. But Chris Paul ended up embarrassing himself in Game 7 that year.
If I'm playing a game and I'm getting ready for the Phoenix Suns, come on, let's go. If I'm getting a game and I'm getting ready for the Golden State Warriors, I'll holler at y'all tomorrow. I got an early one. I'm just saying, my preparation is very different.
I see.
That's all.
And on the very next day, Patrick Beverly was just ready to hate on anything Chris Paul.
I don't want to put any words in your mouth. I feel like you're saying that Chris Paul is overrated, that people view him in a way, but you haven't used that word, so I don't want to put it in your mouth. But is that what you're saying, that people generally overrate how great a player he is?
I think he's been in a fortunate situation to be, president of NBPA and State Farm commercials, so he's fortunate to get certain calls in games that normal guys don't usually get. I'll say that.
And look, in a way, Patrick Beverly is right to hate because Chris Paul, he did blow a lead.
I still cannot explain how they get blown out on their home court in this situation. That one, I'm going to have to do some investigation on. I don't have an answer for you. Whoa.
Go, Pat Bev, go.
Hey, now, you can't follow this team the whole year and say how great of a team, how focused they are, and then get on here in front of all these people that's watching right now and tell me that you don't have anything to say now. You just can't do that.
And he's not wrong, bro. Keep the same energy. You were hyping up this team for so long.
They had the best record in the NBA,
50,
right?
Bev. They lost by 50. And that's the thing when you guys are up here discussing basketball. Preseason is a monster. Regular season is a monster. Playoff is another monster. Elimination games are a whole nother monster. So you can't take what you see regular season and play. Of course, no one has the time to scout for it back-to-back against Phoenix. They run their offense. The referees know what's going on. Chris Paul go get in the bonus all the time. They go call little petty fouls during the season. But in the playoffs, now you got to really lace them up. You have to guard. You have to go over. You have to make plays.
And look, it's one thing to criticize a player like Chris Paul, right, after losing in the playoffs. But it's another to just hate on him.
I'm going to get a lot for this, but, I don't really care. They benched the wrong person. Should have benched Chris. And I'm not saying bench him now. Once you see they starting attacking Chris early, and you know that might become a problem later on, you need to see how my team works without Chris in the game a little bit. I got benched. We won though.
Right.
So
right.
you don't even remember that.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
I'm saying.
But I respect the dedication. It's 8:14 Eastern as he's talking all this ish about Chris Paul.
I'll go to you, Bev, because I want you to elaborate. You're talking about Phoenix talk so much. Give us some perspective, some insight on what it's like to play against the Phoenix Suns.
I mean, we are in Phoenix. We're playing against them, and we're going to see you guys in the playoff. You guys are going to be the HC. You guys who we want to see. But I'm going to pause it right there. All right. If Kawhi's not hurt, Phoenix doesn't go to the championship last year.
I agree with that.
Now, let's be honest.
No, I agree with that.
So why are we the next year talking about how great?
Because they turned around and they won 64 games.
They're a seasoned team. Their system is great. Their system is a system that all the players know. Their coach, they have all the players coming back. They had the main core been there. They just added CP. Their coach has been phenomenal. Of course, you're supposed to win a lot of games. You're made up to win a lot of games.
64 games says something.
Man, and then get blowed out says another.
It's just that one Drake tweet where he's like, yo, bench players talking like they're starters. It's just annoying, man.
We wanted them first round.
Minnesota wanted them first round.
First round.
Karl Anthony Towns wanted them first round.
Anthony Edwards wanted them first round.
And this guy on daytime television on ESPN writing checks that Ant and Cat have to cash in.
Boy, scared of Luka. Ain't nobody afraid of anybody over there in Phoenix, man. Everybody in the league knows that, bro. Like, it's just that y'all don't know that because y'all not in the locker room. No one's afraid of Phoenix. We wanted them. We wanted them. No one's afraid of Phoenix. I talked to some teammates. I ain't going to say who because I'm going to say who. Forget it. I talked to Paul George last night. Man, Pat, ain't nobody scared of them. But you face Dallas, you ain't scared of Dallas, but, man, you
scared of Luka.
Hey, man, you got to get your game right when you play Luka. I'm just being honest.
And to think, this dude appeared on not one, not two, but 3 different shows on ESPN.
Do you just not believe in the brother?
No, I appreciate everything he's done for the game. Me and CP, this started when I was in high school, college.
Oh my goodness, this guy really did peak in college.
The praise that he gets and the slander that he doesn't get when he doesn't perform, it's not the same as it is with every other superstar. And my question is, why not?
And why do you think why not?
For one, he's the president.
Former president of Players Association. Go ahead.
It's kind of hard to kind of slander the president. The look. He doesn't have a type of look.
So basically, he's a professional and you're not.
Man, people look at Chris Paul, man, and you know what that means? Licking my chops. Come on, bring them to me. Want that. And that just ain't me. That's just the NBA.
And look, even though some NBA players refuted a lot of this, some NBA players might feel this way, but this is coming from Pat Bev, of all people. Like, are we serious?
Reeves is down.
There's
look
worse.
at Beverly. Comes in. And knocks over Ayton.
The guy acts unprofessionally on the court all the time, but he also does it off the court, clear as we can see with this ESPN interviews.
Wow. Oh, man, that is a straight body check there.
I mean, come on. This is Bush League stuff from Pat Bev. The fact that he did this a year before on Chris Paul, and it's like, obviously, he got ejected, and his comments afterwards.
From my point of view, I felt like, obviously, very unprofessional. Shouldn't have happened, first and foremost. But I'm a big fan of, protecting my teammates. Especially teammates that, I go to war for it every night. So
this guy is just so shameless. It's disgusting.
I'm so tired of watching Pat Beverly push people in the back, push them in their chest. Like, this is not the only push.
And look, there was another incident later on where a month after, he puts a shot up on Chris Paul, does the too small sign, and Chris Paul now has to answer to this stuff, and he does it in the most mature, most professional way possible. I just come away respecting Chris Paul a lot more after all this.
After he scored on you?
Nah.
You did the too small.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. When you guys were up 28.
Yeah, you can't pay attention to stuff. That ain't new. He ain't come up with it, but just play basketball, man.
And, that's just it. Chris Paul is out here playing basketball. Pat Bev is out here trying to play mind games with Chris Paul, touching them up. It's a blowout. The Phoenix Suns are destroying your team, and you're just out here being a pest and getting suspended for it.
He reached around and clearly tried to punch Pat Bev in the groin.
Look, this isn't me trying to absolve Chris Paul of anything, because he does have his fair share of dirty plays. But Pat Bev just takes it to a whole other level, right? He's on his podcast now trying to say, I'm gonna pick up Chris Paul 94 feet. He's gonna feel it. I'm hounding his ass, and then he says, I don't have it that way for a lot of people, but I have it for him. Like, he has a vendetta against Chris Paul.
When Patrick Beverly said Chris Paul is a chair, 9-time all defensive team, 7 first team. When he went on ESPN and said, we all know Chris Paul a chair, A, what was your first thought? And B, did you think about saying something about it? Did you not see it? I know you don't look at a lot of stuff, but sometimes this stuff just make it to you because they're going group chats,
all the
other things.
It made it to me.
Like, walk me through that time.
I'm first and foremost, I was, a pair of lips to say anything. You know what I mean? Like, seriously. And
so thankful that Draymond Green was able to ask this question to Chris Paul. And he actually got Chris Paul to say how much of a professional he is.
The work speaks for itself.
Damn right.
You know what I'm saying? So you hell, boy. You hell, because you know me saying that.
I just want to know.
I still compete on defense, you know what I'm saying, every night as best. I'm probably not the defender I was some years ago, you know what I mean? But yeah,
9 times.
It's sound bites.
And I know we spent a lot of time on Pat Bev. This could have been its own video, but we got to move on. It's the 2022 playoffs. Booker, right? He's out with a hamstring injury in the series where they desperately need him to be there. But a perplexing storyline in this series was how Jose Alvarado was rattling Chris Paul.
Brandon Ingram and Chris Paul, he wants to go at Alvarado. It's over and back. Now they're going to say it was touch. They may look at it again. Let's see. I think they will. The officials are going to huddle here. They want Alvarado to be an irritant, don't they, Reggie? Yes, they do.
He's just tenacious. He's a pest out there. Mirrors a lot of what Chris Paul likes to do on the defensive end.
This team really started to believe and grow up. He's a rookie. Look at him knocking the ball away, and that's a violation on Paul.
And he's certainly embodying a lot of what Pat Bev believes he could do to Chris Paul on the end.
Slowly becoming a cult hero here in the Big Easy. And a drive inside, no. Another drive off the Suns. Did you see that? Yes.
And the beauty of the playoffs, you get to see these two teams hate each other. Oh, man.
Rebound by Booker. Alvarado off the bench, 1 of 4. That's a foul on Phoenix.
And Chris Paul right there realizing he got played in his own game.
For Chris Paul, a taste of his own medicine. This is a Chris Paul play.
A series like this, you just know there was a lot of back and forth, and there was. Shout out Legend Z Productions, one of the best lip readers out there. You got Herb Jones, Alvarado, you got Ingram going at Chris Paul, man. It's, I love it, the toxicity.
Into Alvarado, works his way, fouled, shoved. Alvarado picks it up. Alvarado saying, look at my lip. My lip is bleeding.
This series, even though the Suns took it in 6 games, it felt like this was the beginning of a new rivalry, as later in the season, the Pelicans end up beating the Suns.
No. Get it done. And on the spin and the reverse, the slam by Zion.
Zion breaking the unspoken rules. There's a bit of rivalry here.
I don't think Jose and Chris Paul at the end of the game. And he got into Chris Paul.
What we love about sports, we get to see rivalries form and the Pelican fans rejoicing and finally beating out the Suns. Chris Paul, Alvarado getting into it as well at the end of the game.
Do you have a fan base that hates you and maybe you hate as well?
Yeah, it's Phoenix.
And what I love about this specific little beef here, Alvarado examining that game that we just saw, right? He reacts to this.
Seriously though, what's up with you and Chris?
Like I said, I give him his credit as a basketball player. He's really good. He's probably one of the top 5 point guards, right? But me and him, when we on the same court, not the biggest fan at all. So, like I said, I think we bump heads because we compete. We both compete at a high level, and he knew I was obviously a fan of him going into the NBA, and I don't know if he was just what they expected or whatever, like to kiss ass And that's not what I was gonna do with him. You know, I wanted to compete, and he just took it to a whole other level. So I just left it at that, and hey, I'm gonna be the same way every single time now, so.
It feels like guys like Alvarado respect Chris Paul a lot more than everybody else. I mean, he's the one that's out here going toe-to-toe with a 7-footer.
And the things that you would get into with guys, you don't get into none of that stuff no more. Yet you're probably as competitive as you've ever been. Help me through that, because that's also something that I'm trying to figure out.
You know, it's crazy, man, and you know it. I still get into some shit.
And he's not wrong, man. The year after that, he went to the Spurs, right? And he was getting into it with some younger guys that you're like, bro, this guy, Chris Paul.
Watch out now. Hold on. Dylan Brooks. And Wemby.
And this Chris Paul in San Antonio, he wasn't just a slouch. He wasn't just there to be a mentor. He actually played in a lot of these games.
Go, he hit it and tore Eason.
Season started. No look. Wemby with the dunk.
It's great for Wemby. Paul pulling up 3. Oh, he put it in at the buzzer.
So stand, the bump, the lean, fires a long shot.
Oh.
But that also means in more games, there was Chris Paul's antics. Oh, man.
Second quarter. Oh, Chris Paul.
Boy, he and D'Lo, Chris Paul, first of all, did he throw an elbow or a shoulder at D'Lo prior to that?
You can see it here on the replay. Chris Paul elbowing D'Lo as he's getting the ball inbound. And then D'Lo giving him a little payback shove for that.
Nice move. Into Wemby, punishing the rim.
In the game versus the Bucks, Giannis goes for a drive. Chris Paul meets him there.
Next whistle is Giannis tripped up. And he does not like what Sohan did, or Castle. It's him and Castle now. Sohan, and the bench has to stay off the floor.
Giannis clearly didn't like was the push afterwards as Chris Paul, pushes him down there. And Giannis has reasons to not like what Chris Paul did there. They have some history dating back to the finals. Yeah. It was quite funny seeing Chris Paul and Giannis just go back and forth at each other.
Have turned into.
I don't know. Well, I don't think the player would have been so upset about the foul. It just would have been a foul.
And then we get edits from like GD Factory clips with one of the funniest memes I've ever seen. And of course, Kevin Durant and Chris Paul getting to it as well.
O'Neal, loop it, knocked out of bounds, and Durant and Paul are talking in an animated fashion.
And it's that fiery competitiveness, bro. Like, this is beautiful.
Double tease. Paul and Durant are still talking.
And allow me to spin back on the take that we heard in this video.
Chris Paul is to a point in his career where he'll never play 82 games.
That was said in the summer of 2019. In the season of 2024-25, Chris Paul played 82 games for the Spurs.
And maybe the defensive player of this year, and here we go.
One, there's two, there's three.
Nice.
What's the start? That's the start.
And one last funny tidbit from the Spurs season, bro, it was this.
Look at this. This is a unique strategy. It's all about the bounce, the passes. They're not even worried about
this. Has Chris Paul's fingerprints all over it.
Yes, it does.
They're out here trying to cheat the system. Chris Paul, man, he's at it again.
Wait a minute. The crowd is unsettled.
Yes.
The rules are being shoved to the very brink.
And I mean, look, bro, shout out to them for actually trying to see if they could get away with this.
Well, they have been disqualified. They have been disqualified.
It's that competitiveness, man. Chris Paul wanted to win at all costs.
I didn't even hear any points. Tried a strategy that we thought could win. Something that we thought could win. You see, it had the best time, so it was fun.
And look, this is Chris Paul when he's having fun, right? Chris Paul when he's as competitive as can be. He's trying to win at all costs, right? He's having fun out there sometimes too, but it's all about winning at the end of the day.
So, I mean, you've won at every single level, which I think is one of the more impressive parts of your game that people don't really talk about. AAU National Championship in high school, led Wake Forest to their first #1 ranking ever in school history. What does it take? Obviously, some people in the media and the outside have been kind of critical of your leadership style, whatever. What does it take in your mind to be a winner?
Oh, man. I don't know. I think for me, my leadership or whatnot is not for everybody. It's hard, you know what I mean? Because I expect things a certain way. But the thing about it is I never ask you to do something I'm not willing to do myself.
It was a very insightful part of the podcast when I was listening to it. Gilbert Arenas of all people, making a great point here about winners.
Everybody wants to be a winner, right? But they don't want to deal with what it takes to be a winner, right? Everybody talks about Mamba mentality, but actually don't like it when it's in your face,
So they ain't knowing like that.
That's what I said. They talk about, they think like Mamba mentality is like, dude, like no, it's ruthless. It's like if I'm shooting 1,000 shots a day and you're shooting 200 shots a day, why the f am I passing you the ball? My bad shots is better than your worst shot. So if you want my respect, you have to try to be on the same level.
You search up Kobe on Twitter, you'll see all the hate. It's very easy to hate on guys like Kobe. Guys like him and Jordan, they're just trying to win at all costs, man. Chris Paul's the same way.
You watch film like I do. You come to practice early like I do. You leave late like I do. Like, be there, like compete. You know, and I think like if you look at all the competitors, for some reason no one likes them, right? Right? You know, like we see who Jimmy Butler is, right? This is the same bad locker room guy, right? The bad locker room, like, because he wants to win. He doesn't accept, like, yo, we just lost by 30, and he's like, yo, hey, what club y'all going to? Because he wants, like, that's not part of his style. Same thing with when Kobe got to the Lakers and they went young. And he's sitting there trying to like, yo, what is this? You don't like it. Because winners hold you accountable.
So much of what Chris Paul has, ended up doing is holding others accountable. In Houston, he tried doing it with Harden and Mike D'Antoni and their offense, and there was a falling out, and they ended up losing in the playoffs. And Chris Paul, for all his faults, he has an insane competitive spirit.
Because I know guys that are competitors, we got a lot alike.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? We're alike in a lot of ways, and that's why, I mean, I'm sure we'll talk about it at some point, but when the trade happened for me to come to the Warriors and knowing our history, I knew, that would be a conversation, but I knew basketball-wise, he on the same type of energy I'm on. You know what I mean? So like you said, I'm a believer in that, some people will say my competitiveness is the best thing about me and the worst thing about me, but at the end of the day is who I am. Right.
And that'll get you in trouble in a lot of places, even in the professional arena, right? You'll even get in trouble with officials in the NBA, right? And that's where Chris Paul ends up having some of his funnier, most, troublesome beefs.
Steve Kerr thinks that you think he's hilarious, and unfortunately, you don't think he's hilarious. If you recall that video of him walking off, you were with the Rockets still, right?
Yeah.
And Steve Kerr made a joke, and he did the.
Oh yeah, you did the.
I want to just, go to the funnier parts of Chris Paul's altercations. Yeah, that Steve Kerr laugh, I just couldn't believe it in real time.
Paul steps up for three. Bang!
So already the Warriors were getting beat by a Rockets team. They go to timeout.
When we come back, we'll hear from Steve Jobby about what our guys just said, a 15-point Rockets lead.
I mean, what could he have possibly said to Chris Paul to get him to just
Why did I fake laugh at Steve Kerr? It wasn't funny.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't care what Steve Kerr actually said, because I want to get some agendas off. Okay, so the Clippers, they lost in the play-in, right, after Chris Paul retired a month earlier. Steph Curry dominated, and it looks like Chris Paul's petty.
Let's talk about the meme you put up where you went to somebody's funeral just to make sure that mother was dead. Can we talk about that then, if you would like to talk about whatever? Let's do that. This is from...
I was playing cards with my family, man. We was playing. We was playing all that, and I won the card game.
That was a timing thing.
Okay, so he was playing cards, wink, wink. And that look, this postseason has been amazing, right? Now, Chris Paul, you can finally rest. You're no longer the biggest joke in the game. Congratulations, Jalen Johnson. Oh boy, these playoffs have been fun, man. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This was a funny one to make. Have a good one. Peace out.